Hello and welcome to Out of Spec Scootz. I'm Comp, this is Satori, my cat. I'm here today, I'm super stoked to do a bit of teardown on these cheapest of e-bikes that we could find online. We found them all around $200, did some significant testing with them already. We've got one that's from Walmart.com, one from Amazon, and one from Temu. They all have performed decently. There's only one defect so far, that this light has stopped working. I think the wire is rubbing on the bottom of the forks here. Overall, we did some range testing, we did unboxing, having fun reading the poorly translated manuals. We did some real world out there in the world testing out of the Outer Banks in North Carolina. That was super fun. Check out those videos, they're already up and live. But I'm most excited about taking these batteries apart and seeing what the build quality is like. So let's get into it. Well, I've got the chest mount strapped up for point of view viewing. We're gonna go in the same order as the unboxing and the range test. So we're gonna start off with the one from Walmart, which is the BroPath Y2. BroPath Y2. And in this one, the battery is inside this tray in the back. So, got to take that, basically take it off of the bike, and then looks like there's some Phillips screws underneath. Looks like it's a 10 millimeter, and then an Allen on the top. Screw is just going through the plastic enclosure, and then through a little hole in the frame. A 4 millimeter for those bolts that held the basket on. Get that one cut. And our battery is now detached. Several recessed Phillips here. Seems like a pretty standard. All screws are undone. Seems like it just kind of wants to come up. The sticker is holding it together still. Goodbye, charging port sticker. Okay. We've got a JST holding that together. And this is it. Just a loose lithium ion rattling around in here. That's what I've been hearing. Got some scuff marks from it rattling around, and a little tiny 36 volt controller. So yeah, that's interesting. JST charging port and XT60. Some epoxy. It's got epoxy on both ends, but I can feel each cell in here. A couple of warnings on there. Label turns red in water. Product is not guaranteed for water, so it's not guaranteed to be sealed. I would say that's a pretty poor build quality. I'm just having lithium ions, or a lithium ion pack, just rolling around in here. No specs on the battery. That's pretty sad. Next up is the Werhy that we got on Amazon. Much easier for disassembly. To get to the battery, the seat folds up, and then there is just a plug here. And there's a locking pin in the back that already undid that, and then it just slides out. Maybe it's just these 4 screws on the top. Just the 4 screws on the top, and the top is coming off. You can see the charge port on one side, and the locking mechanism, the bolt, and the charge port on the other side. But Looks like everything in here is pretty well epoxied in. Very similar connectors, so same connectors, JST for the charge port and XT60 for the battery connection. But everything is all built in here, from the top side at least. Took all the screws out of the bottom. Let's take a look down here. Black box, soft black box, with some dirt enclosed. Well, not all that much to see in this battery. It was epoxied in from the top. Everything is secured in there well, and as long as everything is built well on the inside, it should remain intact. I'm not going to go through and do destructive testing opening up the pack because I want to keep riding these. And lastly, we've got the Squirrel T1. The best one so far. I think the battery is going to be very similar to the last one. It is pretty self-contained and epoxied in. But there's the key. That bolt goes back. That was locking through the frame. Unplug the plug from the other side. Press up on that, and the seat folds up. And that should just slide out. Let's compare size. Yeah, bigger overall and width. But that versus that. So that's where the additional range came from that. And I'm curious if the T1 battery can fit into the Werhy. No. But the Werhy battery can fit into the T1. It would wobble around a whole bunch though. Let's pop these screws out. See what it looks like inside. Well, different style of screws. They are basically a wood screw. They're just going into plastic. All right, look at this. We've got non-JST. We've got that style connector for that, and an XT60 for that. Nice that it's removable. And we've got a fuse, internal fuse. Nice, a little 40 amp fuse inside there. I like to see that. It'd be nice if in the manual it told you something about that there was a fuse inside your battery, just in case. But great to see. Fuse closest to the battery. Save the wires down the line. A bit of foam for dampening, and that pretty much kind of makes contact. It looks like it's only making contact with the motor connector there just slightly. But still something to keep things, if the epoxy does completely go, keep things from rattling around. There's quite a bit of empty space in here around the edges. And I can see an open hole there. There's holes all along the bottom. So not much going on there besides some drain holes. Bit of foam that it's resting on down there, which is nice. And definitely some open space around the edges. Feels solid for a battery. Nice that it has a fuse. And foam. Well, that was batteries. Let's take a look at, or try to access, where the controllers are. There's one screw underneath here that was retaining the seat. And with that screw gone, this can then slide back, and it was just keyed onto these. So, little one screw and slide release. And this is what I've been hearing rattling around back here. Wires are pretty neatly tucked. 48 volt controller. Under voltage at 39 volts, plus or minus 2 volts. And current limiting at 13 amps, plus or minus 1 amp. We got our controller stuck down, put a little bit of 3M VHB underneath it. And also saved a little bit of the packaging foam that came with it. Get the controller kind of held in a little bit better. A little worse for thermal, for heat dissipation, but I think it's a bit better overall for longevity of things rolling around in there. Get the wires all nicely tucked back in and get things plugged back up. All right, same thing as the T1. There's one screw up underneath here. This one was an Allen screw. And then the seat just slides back and comes off. It's just keyed on with these into here. All right, but bit different in this one. We've got just a puke fest of epoxy just strewn about. Maybe that's there for vibration isolation. So it's got an open speed controller, and I've heard this thing rattling around in here. Epoxied in XT60 with some exposed connectors there. Not liking that too much. But looks like this thing's pretty well conformal coated. Would be slightly water resistant. But I'm gonna peel this stuff off and actually stick it to the bottom of the tray. Exposed motor connectors. That could potentially short out. So I'm gonna get probably a little bit of tape, put some tape around that. I got my Super 33. All right, we got those isolated. You could put on, pretty easily mount some sort of basket or milk carton, something in the back would be nice. And I had it backwards. Much easier location, or much easier locating. That is a live spider? Yeah, it is. A little live jumping spider. What do you got there? What do you got there, bud? What did you get? Did you get yourself an insect? He's a cool looking spider. Down to this project of trying to secure the loose lithium-ion pack and speed controller. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on it to try to hold it in place. And this is contact adhesive, and it works best if pushed together and then spread apart, let to cure for a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit of VHB on the speed controller. Get that stuck down. We're going to glue this to the other side of the battery. All right, got the wires routed. It feels good with a little bit of extra extra foam in there. There we go. Little battery basket back together. Well, there we are. 3 cheap e-bikes, inspected, disassembled slightly, and checked out, slightly improved for a few of them. I'm more confident in longevity now. Again, this is the way I would do things. Getting things vibration isolated and well put in there. I would say that the T1, again, did the best. Its battery seemed like it was the best well built. The speed controller was pretty well stuffed in there. It couldn't rattle around all that much. The Werhy, similar. It was kind of sad that the battery was completely glued up and you can't really access it, but at least it's a solid unit. The speed controller goop and securing that was a bit sad, but at least now it's a bit better. And then the BroPath, definitely a little disappointed in a lithium-ion pouch just rattling around back there. So they all are back to working, just to prove it. Turn them all on. Do some burnouts. Yep, that one's on. That one's on. And T1. Yep, they all throw a little bit of dirt. Thank you for watching Out of Spec Scootz. Have a great day.